I think the best guys to target very often to get your business up and rolling are old network marketers. People who've networked, people who've been in MLM, because they're the first guys to see it. And if it's anything decent, they'll sit and listen to you. Even if you just phone them, you say, listen, have a coffee, I've got something to show you. Network marketing, yep, and they'll sit with you. But of course, tell that to anybody else and they'll say, what? That? No, it's one of the, the scams or schemes or whatever it is. But I find target a network marketer, get your business up and running quicker, and then you can start going to guys who have more trouble with the concept of network marketing. And if it's good, you'll get through to them eventually. But generally speaking, go for the network marketing guy. If it's a good network marketing concept, like I remember a lady that my sister brought, and we sat in the front there on Saturday morning about 10 minutes before coming into the auditorium, and she said to me, I'll just tell you I'm not joining. I said, no, that's fine. That's fine. I said, but once you've seen the presentation, once you see what's on offer here, you're going to actually thank me for inviting you here. You're going to thank Anne for inviting you. And he said, all right. We came out after the presentation. I can't remember who did it. And she came outside and she said, I see what you mean.
I prefer people that are working, because they understand that, like, for example, with DuePoint, one of the keys is that when you join the business, you need to take the product. So if you're not working, how are you going to pay the product? That's my first thing that comes to my mind. So people that
must have a job.
They must have a job. For me, that's the key. They must have a smartphone. They must be mobile as well, so that they can come to the presentation. I believe that people, they need to come, because first time I came here, I can align myself with the business. Because first thing that you can, when you come here, you just look at the whole environment. The whole environment itself says a lot about the business. You see, so I prefer people to come here. Anyone can do this business. It depends on the individual approach to an individual. That's what we can say. Because what you're comfortable with, it works for you. And what I'm comfortable with, it works for me. So there's no formula anyway that this is the right person for that business, this one is the right person for that business. I guess it works for individual with what you're comfortable with.
The big difference with DuePoint is that you don't have to sell. That is the one bait target which we have, which all the other networks, I must buy something and I must sell something. Even if it's brochures which I have to buy and give to people out. And DuePoint, you just have to be a consumer. You just have to buy your own product. So here you buy just your own product, which is your own personal use, which you benefit from. Yes, you have to be employed. If people is employed, the working class in South Africa is very frustrated currently, because they're earning more than ever before and they have less. So they work longer hours, they have less, more stress. So they're looking for not just more money but more time. So if you get an existing networker in there that's been trained and been through the mill, if the guy's got half a brain, he's going to realize I've got a lot more support here. And what's nice out of the blocks, you've got somebody that can already prospect and recruit and train, and that will help you faster. But you have to aim for people that is not going to be a drain on your resources, that can get you on his own steam.
Must be a short explanation, not long. Like what I always do. I always ask, are you working? And when the person say yes, if once you say yes, I get more happy, because now I know I can do the business. Then I ask, how long are you working? How long are you working? How long are you working? Okay, then he tells me maybe 2 years, 3 years. Then I say to him, okay. Then I say, wow, that means you're doing well. You're doing well in this business. They always say, no, I'm not doing well. Then I say, okay, can I give you? I'm in the business that gives me extra income, and I'm happy with that extra income. Maybe also you can do it. You're also going to be also going to be happy.
What we found out, like especially if we invite me, when we say extra income, I think people, they don't understand that. So I have to break it down. Second income, because Michelle saying you must be working and earning. This will provide a second income.
One of the things that I try and do is I'm listening to what you're saying, and you kind of trying to establish if that person has a need, and then you're trying to match what we offer at DuePoint, the solution to that need. So normally in a conversation, within the first minute, someone's complaining. They're complaining about they haven't got enough money. The bills. I've got to pay school fees. The car's broken. I need a new car, and they can't afford it. And so in answer to the question, it's really not to get into an explanation, too big explanation, but to get the invite there. And what I generally say is, I've got something that may or may not be for you, but if I invited you to take a look, would you have a look? And I'm getting their permission to send them an invitation, or to offer to show them the video there and then bring them to the office. But I don't want to get into too much detail.
I've got a slightly different situation. I've got someone seated and I hear what he's saying, and he's got problems and he doesn't want a new pair of frames because money's tight and whatever. If he hasn't got a medical aid, it's a reason why he hasn't got a medical aid, can't afford one. So you've sort of got an in there, but if you listen to him, he'll often tell you again what his problems are. That's a potential person for me.
Okay.
Now, what I would do in that case with him is I say, I'll tell you what, I've got something that I'm currently doing that I find really exciting. Let's finish the consult and I'll chat to you about it. And when we finish that, I say, I'm involved with a company called DuePoint, and I'll give you a website to look at. But I'll tell you, why don't we go and have a coffee sometime? So when he comes and collects his glasses, we'll have made a coffee. And at that point, I'll tell you more or less what DuePoint's about. Then invite him.
I found that most new networkers confuse making an appointment with telling people what's it about. You must be very careful, because it's two total different events.
Okay.
Because what you want is your bait is more time, more money, or out of debt. That's your bait. The reality is to explain, you want to give DuePoint a decent opportunity to explain itself, or you to explain what's it about, and you need at least 45 minutes to an hour. Always answer a question with a question. If he says, does it take a lot of time? I ask him, is time a problem? If he says yes, I said, you're going to love it. If he says no, I tell him you're going to love it. He says, is it going to cost me money? I say to him, is money a problem for you? If he says yes, then I said, you're going to like it. If he says no, I said, you're going to like it. Because, to get the action off you and say to him, and he said, what's it about? I said, well, it's fairly simple, but I need a tablet. Or, what I would suggest is, why don't you come meet my friend and let him explain. It's more like Windows. I mean, if I'm sitting next to you, you're going to see it, but over the phone it's a bit difficult. So what are you doing next Tuesday or Thursday? And I introduce you to my friend, and then you take it from there and see if it's for you. Then the guy feels there's no threat and I'm making a decision.
I agree with you that when I make the appointment, I say the least, the least you can say the better, because if you start talking about products, people's got all of these products already and they think, why should I take the trouble? I've got these things. But your enthusiasm, that is what get people to sit down with you and watch the video. That's what I'm doing. And I specifically use the video because now people can say, oh, but she's so stupid. She just plug in the video. I can do the same. And that's exactly what I want to be duplicated. They know they can just push that little button and the whole thing is on there. But if you plug in the video, press, that's Daniel always said, press the push button and you can have your business, and anybody can do it. No matter if you start tonight, you can push that button. You need to make the invitation, and that is the critical part, because people will say no to you and you have to get over it, because who's next? Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next?
And normally what I say, it's with enthusiasm, I've got something absolutely amazing for you. You won't believe me if I told you. And they go, what is it? And I normally get the card out and I give them my card and I say, look, let's have coffee. Can I get your details? And I'll tell you later. It's that sort of is like enthusiastic, not saying anything. In fact, I walk away and I haven't said anything to anybody, and I get them so excited that they say, "What is it? Can I?" And they'll contact you.
I say, do you want to make money? I've got an excellent opportunity. You must come and take a look at it, and that's it. And I get, your enthusiasm. That is what draw people to you. And I almost never get a no. When I phone people, I get my appointment. Even if it's not today, even if they say, no, I'm busy today, call me in February, as I got last night. I said, okay, I'll make a note and I'll call them in February next year. I will do that.
I look at people, it's not what they do, but how they do. The thing which I got from this group, everybody smiles when you talk. And I've seen guys literally do that. I was wondering if you want extra money. I mean, they're so dead in the water before they start. It's so unnatural. The thing is, enthusiasm, be natural, be different. Sometimes I just go flat out and I phone a guy and said, listen, me and Chris has started something on the side, we're making extra money, he bet me $100, you won't get it, and I want to prove him wrong. What do you think now? Be courageous, laugh,
something
put
like,
energy.
but this is not for you.
Yeah.
But I want to just run this on you because I want to invite your brother.
Yeah, I'm actually after you, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the guy says, all right, well, tell me a bit about He says, oh, really? This sounds quite good.
Yeah.
Okay, you can join then.
Yeah, I don't want you in my business, but I want to practice with you if you
But
don't
it's
mind.
your brother.
I'll buy you coffee.
Yeah.
Really, it's a fear. People are scared that people might say no. But actually, if they say no to you, they don't say no to you. They say no to the opportunity. It's like having coffee in a restaurant. When you get a bottomless cup of coffee, if the waitress comes to you and she asks you, would you like some more coffee? And you say no. You don't say no to the waitress, you say no to the coffee. And this is exactly, separate the business DuePoint from yourself. If the rejection is not on you, it's on the business. They say no for their future.
And then there's this networker, Worry, is it W-O-R-R-E, who speaks such good sense. We've been listening to a couple of his CDs. And one of the things he says is, look at yourself in the mirror whilst you're making the phone call and smile into the mirror because people can hear the smile.
Absolutely.
And it is amazing. I did that the other day at work without the mirror, but I was smiling at myself, just looking into the computer screen and smiling.
Yeah, it's so
And in
smart.
fact, the way I spoke was different. It was a complete different inclination on how I addressed the person. And I could hear on the far side, the guy says, you really do sound excited. I said, I am. He said, yeah, sure, when are we going to meet?
When I see someone that I want, maybe I can see he's got like tablets, he's got his key, that means he's got a car. I always smile at him and look at him and say, wow, I think I've seen this face somewhere. Then they always say to me, where did you see me? I say, in DuePoint. They say, no, I don't know about DuePoint. I say, then he asked me, what are you doing in DuePoint? Then I asked him, you will be happy if you can know about DuePoint. Then he said to me, what's DuePoint? I say, okay, because I'm in a rush now. What I'm gonna do, just give me your phone number, then I'll come back to you.
Excellent.
Then I just
You should always have a business card.
Yeah.
And you should always, I collect numbers all the time. If I eat, I take the bill and I got the number of the waiter. Accumulate names. Because numbers is your bloodline. I mean, your numbers is names.
When it comes to DuePoint, I'm actually very passionate about this business. So the people are not coming because I've offered them that they're going to make a lot of money or whatever, but they just want to follow what is it that excites you about this business, you see. Something I like about this business is it does not give you any false promises, you see. So when you go to DuePoint, yes, we need to make a statement that's the type of business we're in. So that's the type of people that you want also on the business. They need to make a statement.
I think DuePoint helps us with this building. And as long as your clothes are clean and you're presentable, you look just as good as everybody else. So we've got something which other people don't have. The building is very convincing. I've seen people literally change their mind when they see the building.
The realization was, I think, that you can do that on your own. You don't have to bring people and only once a presentation has been shown them, they join, because it's a waste of time. If you've got to wait every week because a guy can only come next Thursday, and then next Thursday night at 5 o'clock he phones you and says, I'm not making it, and you think, oh God, another week, can only come next Thursday. Well, get to him in between. Get him on the Saturday afternoon. Get him on a Sunday. The follow-up to this building has clinched the deal. The guys getting here, the professionalism, the way it's presented, the building itself. Clearly there is an effect that this building has on the people that do arrive here. There's no doubt about it. And even if it's the follow-up for the confirmation, because they want to
Just
see
once.
it's real. They want to see it's real. So they can hear you, and that's all they do is listening. You're a good friend, and they'll listen to you, and they'll agree, and they'll sign up. But for the reality of what this is, they need to see the building.
What I would normally do is say something along the lines of, I've just got involved in something, I'm really excited about it, and I know with your success in your career or business or whatever the circumstances, I really value your opinion. Would you check it out for me, just to make sure I'm not making a mistake? You know, something like that, where I'm really stroking that person's ego. And then there's no arm twisting, I need you to join this. But once I'm in front of them and you're showing them the opportunity, whether you're using the video or you've got them to come to the office to meet the team, if they don't necessarily see it, who do you know? Who would you actually like to help? You're successful, but who else would you like to see in your life who's successful? Because when I first started, I used to sort of sick it up. I mean, it was basically like vomiting on someone's shoes, and I used to let them know everything that I knew about, the product, the plan, and if you do this and you get that, and it didn't actually really work, because that person, you can see they just glaze over, and you've lost them.
I tried to actually invite my ex-boss, right? And he believed in me because when I resigned, obviously I left them in good books, I've been a top performer with them, and they were really shocked with me when I left, They kept on sending me the emails to come back, and I kept on refusing so initially they were like, okay, clearly she must be doing well wherever she is, So when I asked them to come, for the business, because I said, because he actually looked at me like he was following me on Facebook. So when I came back from Mauritius, he kept on looking, and I went back to Mauritius. Last year when I came back from Italy, he actually gave me a call. He said, exactly what are you doing, Then I said, no, I'm actually involved with this business. It's a business opportunity, very exciting, still on the financial sector. And I said to him, I would like you to come and look for the business, to look at the concept.
Dani, with your gold-plated business cards, you give that to someone.
If you don't
and you don't have to say too much, and they'll see that this is a serious business. So you can make a plan to meet them.
It helps. The cards help, but you signed up people before you had them. It is a lot to do with your faith. If a guy is an upstanding community member, I agree with Jane. You flatter him a bit and say, you're an upstanding guy, people look up to you, and so me and a friend are involved in a company that help people, earn an extra income, and you must come across people in your sphere of influence, either a church in your community or where. And I would like to show you what I do. I know you don't need the money, but with your influence and guidance, you might help people. Your family looks at you and they were better at school. Some of them might earn more than you. So my brother won't blame me for this, because me and my brother are very close. When I told him about DuePoint, I haven't even said the second sentence, and he said to me, I'm not joining. And he had a few 4-letter words in there as well to make sure that I get the concept. And I just said to him, I used the emotional card. I said, well, I'm your boot. I know what you're doing, but you've got no idea what I'm doing. You say you love me. Women are very good with men that way. I said, but you've got no idea what I'm doing for a living, and I just wanted to show you. So he came, he joined, and he qualified.
Those people that they know me, yes, must be professional. That's why I don't just go for anyone. I look guys like this. That's what I go for. Dressing, because each and every time when I go to work, I make sure I look nice, I look smart.
Presentable.
Yes.
I think it's very, very important to be presentable, because the way you look, people will judge you by that.
Yes.
They judge the book by its cover.
You know, I think there is a bit of flattery. You know, you're very successful in what you do. You're a great entrepreneur. What we do is really duplicate our time and effort through other people. So just imagine that I'm going to earn out of a lot of people. I'm going to earn a lot of their time. They are, for example, if we're going to grow the business and we've got 1,000 people, just imagine if they sign with one person a day, we're going to have 2,000 people, after having explained the business to them, of course. But that's not unlike you and what you do, because you've got 1,000 employees. I said, your 1,000 employees are creating the income that you're getting. So in a way, we're doing exactly the same thing. So don't look at this as an inferior type of business. Look at it as a serious business. You know, we're doing exactly what you're doing, and the money that you are earning can be earned by doing this.
I just phone them and ask them and sound very excited, and then I send them a SMS with either the YouTube link on it, there's the intro presentation on it, and they watch it and they join. They can join online. Everything is online. The training is online. It's amazing. You just need to take a look at it.
I mean, we roll out the things. A throwdown is available in the next day or two, you know, at least. So sending a link, you know, picking up the phone, be enthusiastic, you know, get the guy to the website and say, that guy that you're going to see, edify, bring in a bit, tell him about his family history. Sometimes uses his dad biography, mailing through, and you know, and I said, well, I don't know Brendan well, but I used to work with his network with his dad before, you know, and how people want that. They want to see, where do you come from? Are you trackable? Are you here? The mistake a lot of people make is they want to press play, and the video must do everything. It must handle objections. It must make a first impression. The video only works when you edify the video and talks about the people you're about to see. And everything is on the web. You know, a little history from Stacy, Tim, where they come from. You know, tell people this is the kind of guys that runs this business. This is where they come from. This is the companies which they run, and do a background check on Constantia. Go read. So you just add to your vocabulary. You know, the website is very simple. It's got 4 buttons. You know, that's your panel.
Simple.
And then if you go into the logging side, this is where your training and back office is. But the basics for the business, you pretty kind of doof to mess it up. You know?
I guess it's constant communication with such, because there's somebody that you can invest on, because they're far from the head office. You know, they don't have that face to face. The only thing that you need to invest in communication with them. Make sure that you communicate with them daily. You make follow-ups. You make sure that they log on to the system. They have logged on, and are you growing your XPs? All these you know, basics of the business. You make sure that they follow them up.
Also, in my experience with long distance, what I found, and particularly as technology's developed, and we've now got things like WhatsApp and instant messaging, it's so easy to get drawn into a conversation that lasts the whole evening, takes your time. So what I've tried to do with people long distance is, you know, watch the video, point them to the tools, and then let's make a note of all your questions, and then we have a phone call, because your time is valuable. You know, this thing shouldn't take a lot of your time. You should work smart. So make an appointment. So you make an appointment for a phone call or a Skype.
We're lucky here being in Gauteng because this is right on our doorstep, and we don't have to necessarily find people outside of Gauteng. But the well's going to run dry. And it does mean that it's first the phone call, and then I want you to watch that. And if you get to watch this, will I be able to phone you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock? Tell me when you'll have watched it by, and then get permission for him to make the phone call to follow up, and then say, right, now what do you think of the movie? I didn't watch it, you know, and then, well, when do you think you're going to be able to watch it by? Are you going to watch it tonight? Yes, I'll get to watch. So if I phone you at 10 o'clock tomorrow, you'll have watched it? The guy says, yeah, sure, good. Then I'll phone you at 10 and get that confirmed and get it watched. Get it synced, and then answer the questions that he's going to have.
One of our biggest problems in the previous networks was that we didn't have that training. It was far for people to come to Johannesburg and attend the training session. You don't have any excuse now because everything is online. If you just watch the XP program, it tells you exactly step by step what you need to do. If you just do that, you will be successful.
As we're staying in Gauteng, we need to focus here first and make sure we understand everything. Then we can still sign guys from outside. Maybe after like after 6 months, you go to visit those guys and you duplicate. You teach them what's happening in Gauteng.
It's most definitely easier to get the people first who's close that you can support, and then move out to as you grow and you get more knowledge and information.
It's finding leadership in your first 3 levels. If you can get your first 3 levels and find enough leadership, you can go anywhere. Because the guy will go back to Carltonville and he'll find 3 leaders and they'll have meetings of their own twice a week. Or it's going to take you going to Carltonville, it's going to take you to go up to Limpopo.
Occasionally.
And do it initially and get something happening and find the lead. And they might have to come down here every so often. But to get that happening up there.
On Facebook, I don't talk much about the business. In fact, even if you can go to my timeline now, you won't find anything about DuePoint. It's just the lifestyle that they're actually following me, and people start asking themselves what is happening, you see. Then when I get those inboxes and people start asking what is happening, then I give them information on the inbox. But what is important for them is I go back to their profile. As long as they're in Joburg, I make sure that they come here, or I meet with them for coffee or on the mall. But I make sure that before I say anything, it's better that I discuss the business with them on face-to-face, not on Facebook.
What I normally say to someone who's quite young, I say, do you want to do like your parents have done and work hard for the next like 40, 50 years, and they still haven't got all the things that they really want? Or do you want to work for the next 5 to 10 years, and get the things that you want?
I was thinking about that. The thing is, you have to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
You have to pick up the phone, you have to sit down with that youngster and talk. And the thing is, if he's got the sensibility and still the nice thing about youngsters, they still dream. And they're prepared to change and tackle things. So there is a lot of enthusiasm. But the reality is networking is not an age thing, really. It is just how you feel. You get a guy, he logged, the first 3 guys tell him, I'm not interested. He said, well, it's not working.
It's not working.
His brother next to him spoke to the first 3 guys and he got 3 years and said, this is easier, I can do this. So we tend to form opinions about how the business works, but it only exists in our head, actually.
As I said, that it's a change of mindset, because if you look at it, if you get like somebody who's 25 years working, having responsibilities, and you offer this business opportunity, it can work. It will. It's just a change of mindset. That's it for me.
At 29, at 29, you get single parents trying to bring up children alone. That's quite disillusioned by love and life. They're looking for an income.
Brendan, when it comes to DuePoint on this opportunity, I'm excited about it, right? Whether they're rejecting it or not, it works for me. You see, so I feel sorry for somebody that rejects this opportunity. That's it, because it works for me. Unfortunately, I cannot make them to see the way I see it. So that's it. I don't even get emotional about it. I don't.
Brendan, if I make a call and somebody rejects me, I immediately start making a new call just to prove to myself I can do it.
I agree with Lynette. If I go see Peter, I already have an appointment with John. So if Peter puts me down, I've already got John in the pipeline. And before I go see John, I already have an appointment with Andre. So I never go into an appointment without having another one on the horizon. And the thing is, you must have a good sense of humor. If in this game, if you don't laugh, I was sharing with the people, I made an appointment with somebody that when I started talking, they said, we're not joining. I said, I know, it's not the point of this. But because we came along where they prepared to look, and I said, well, I'm not even going to bring an application or a pen. I promise you, just myself. And they said, fine, come. Yes, you should go in guns blazing, go in there with all your faith. And, what have you got to lose? I'll rather get a guy telling me, listen, if you speak to me again, I'll shoot you, than come here and he's sitting next to another one.
But Donnie, things change. I had a guy say to me, Lynette, do you never give up? I said, no. And unless you sign up, I will never give up. Because in 6 months' time, things change. You might not be interested now, but in 6 months' time, it's another thing. And I think the list is the most important part of your business. If you've got a list and you keep on adding to your list, I keep on adding to my list every single day. I've got a long list, and I still got way more numbers to put on it.
R1 million network tip that you can actually prospect by handling objection good. I've seen guys that if he says to you no and you're totally unfazed and friendly, that confuses him. Because I've seen guys, they put one guy on the name list and they stalk him. You're actually telling that guy, if you don't join my team, this is not going to work for me, so I'm a desperate team. But the guy says you're really not concerned, and you're still happy-go-lucky and friendly, and every time you meet, if you ask you how you're doing, you tell him how well DuePoint is, because he asked, and then you tell him, and then the guy found that he actually gets back to you after a while. If he sees you take it well on the chin and you're unfazed by it, he will still be approachable. And he'll ask you, do you still do that thing? And
Really, you've got to have a thick skin, let's face it.
Yes.
You've just got to know that you're going to get the no's. And sometimes you get 7 in a row and you think, bloody hell.
yeah.
This is rubbish. Why don't they see it? And you know what happens to me? I get 7 no's in a row. And I then get so desperate that I phone the guy on my list I was never going to phone.
That's the guy I joined.
Bloody hell, I'm going to phone him now. And I've had success in that. Where I've gone and phoned a guy who I was really so scared. He was on my chicken list. I was never going to. He was there on my list, but I'm not going to phone. I postponed the day of phoning him. And with that last no, I thought, no, enough now. Give him a ring. So it maybe pushes you over the edge, the nose, makes you do things you wouldn't ordinarily do.
But it's amazing that people, like, we're sitting here and they think that we don't even get rejected. Yeah? But what is important is for us to stay focused on the business. Remember, I always say to my team that this is my journey. It's not about them. It's about me getting there. So if they're rejecting me, they're rejecting me, but I'm still gonna get there. You see, that's my journey.
There's actually a scientific thing which I can prove. If I ask you how many people are successfully joined on your first point, you would be able to tell me. But I'm prepared to stake a lot on it. But if I ask you how many people said no to this group, you won't be able to tell me. Because we've already learned not to hold on to that.
Yes.
So we don't keep count, but it's not important. And I think for a newcomer, that's very important.
But it's also good to follow up, as I say. Last night I found a person I thought she won't be interested, and was I surprised. She was very, very happy to see me, and now she's prepared to listen to me, and I'm sure I'm going to sign her up, but never give up.
Well, just that there are no correct steps of inviting. There's going to be, various steps according to the person really that you're speaking to, the situation that the guy might be into. And I think it's got to be always brief.
And don't invite people on a party or where they've got time to get you in a corner and ask you what it's all about. Because if you give them a few pointers, you will not make it a deal. You need to sit them down and show the business properly.
Like even to invite a lot of group, for me it doesn't work. It's like if it's 2 or 1, it works for me.
Scary. I actually wanted to say that just now. I want to say if you speak to a group of 5 and the middle guy is very obnoxious or loudmouth or very negative, he makes the other 4 unsure. So take them, you interview people one at a time. In a presentation, I mean, all of us can bring one, but they're not connected to each other.
So you need to look at the environment
Yeah.
that you're in before you invite. For example, when you're in church, you cannot invite people that you know talk about the business because it's a different environment. You know.
Donnie, I had a guy, my friend, I invited her, but her husband was very, very negative about networking. He didn't want anything to do with it. And then I just said, just come and watch this video and come and let me talk to him. He came and within 80 minutes he said to me, I'm now going to leave, but what you said makes so much sense. I'm going to join, and he took out all 3 products. That was a surprise.
This is an important network. You must speak to the brain.
Yeah.
You know, if sometimes you've got the guy, but he's not the brain. You know, the wife is the brain. Or sometimes the mother-in-law is the brain. You have to get the decision makers there. Otherwise, they don't make a decision. Yeah, you have to get the decision maker there. No pun intended. And the reality is when you make an appointment, is always give a guy an option. Don't ask him when can I see you. Ask him, can I see you Tuesday or Thursday? Instinctively, he would either say Tuesday or Thursday. He'll pick one of the. He'll choose the best one, and he'll tell you, I can't this Tuesday, but next Tuesday.
But it's also down in make the appointment as soon as possible. Once you call them, make it as soon as possible or close as possible to your call, because if you give them too much time, they go and try to investigate and get all the information from their mother-in-laws and the friend who knows a friend who know nothing, and then they say no, they're not interested. So I try to get them tonight or tomorrow night, but it's worth it. If you don't do it, you will stay where you are. I always say you can stay where you are, you can change to DuePoint.